What's up, everyone? If you've been following my shorts, you know I love diving into those incredible book moments that never made it to the big screen. But today, we're going long form, because Ron Weasley deserves justice. Ron Weasley got absolutely robbed in the movies. While movie Ron was turned into a bumbling sidekick, book Ron was out here being the most loyal, brave, and strategically brilliant friend Harry could ask for. Today I'm proving why book Ron Weasley is not just better than his movie counterpart. He's actually one of the best characters in the entire series. And I've got 8 instances from the books that will completely change how you see the boy who lived in Harry's shadow. If you're ready to see Ron get the respect he deserves, hit that subscribe button and let's dive into why book Ron is absolutely legendary. Let's start with something that will blow your mind if you only know movie Ron. This guy was actually brilliant at research. In Prisoner of Azkaban, when Buckbeak is sentenced to death, who do you think helped Hagrid build his legal defense? It wasn't Hermione alone. Ron spent hours in the library. He gathered evidence and worked tirelessly to save Buckbeak. Movie Ron could barely remember to do his homework, but book Ron, he was out here doing legal research because he cared about his friend. When Death Eaters crash Bill and Fleur's wedding, chaos erupts everywhere. In that split second of danger, Ron's first instinct wasn't to save himself. It was to grab Hermione and shield her from the attack. While everyone else was scrambling, Ron immediately threw himself between Hermione and danger. Here's one that really gets me. In Half-Blood Prince, when Harry's struggling with Quidditch and everything else, who suggests he use Felix Felicis? Not Harry, not Hermione, Ron, who understood that sometimes you need luck on your side and had the strategic mind to suggest it. He knew exactly what Harry needed and when he needed it. During that awful fight before Ron leaves the tent in Deathly Hallows, he says a lot of hurtful things to Harry. But here's what the movies missed. Even in his worst moment, poisoned by the locket and consumed with jealousy, Ron never once throws Harry's parents' death in his face. Never says, "At least I have a family," or anything about his parents being dead. Then at his lowest point, Ron knew that line should never be crossed. Movie Ron, on the other hand, was just rude and unnecessary without that deeper emotional intelligence. Here's a moment that shows Ron's true character. In Snape's defense against the dark arts class, Snape is asking questions about werewolves. The whole class is sitting there in uncomfortable silence. But Hermione, being Hermione, raises her hand and answers because someone has to. And what does Snape do? Takes 5 points from Gryffindor for her answering out of turn. That's when Ron jumps in. He looks Snape dead in the eye and says, "Why ask if you don't want to be told?" Ron is calling out a teacher for being unfair, knowing full well what's coming next. And sure enough, Snape gives him detention immediately. Think about this. Ron constantly calls Hermione a know-it-all, but the moment she's being punished for literally just answering a question, he risks detention to defend her. Ron chose to take on Snape's wrath rather than let that injustice slide. At the end of Half-Blood Prince, after Dumbledore's death, when Harry's talking about going after the Horcruxes alone, who sets him straight? Ron. He's the one who tells Harry, "You need us. You need Hermione and me." He understood before Harry did that this wasn't a solo mission, that Harry's strength came from their friendship. Here's one where the movies literally flipped the script and gave Ron's moment away. Everyone knows the Devil's Snare scene, but what you might not know is that in the books, when they're caught by Devil's Snare, Hermione is the one panicking. She knows they need fire to stop it, but she's freaking out saying, "But there's no wood, and how are we supposed to make fire?" And Ron is the voice of reason. He looks at her and says, "Are you a witch or not?" It's Ron who reminds her that she can literally make fire with magic. His quick thinking saved them all. But the movies, they made Ron the one flailing around uselessly. They took his critical thinking skills and handed them over to someone else. Talk about doing a character dirty. And here's the moment that gives me chills every single time. When Sirius Black, supposedly a mass murderer, says he's going to kill Harry. Ron, with a broken leg, completely defenseless, looks this dangerous man in the eye and says, "If you want to kill Harry, you'll have to kill us too." 13 years old, injured, terrified, and he still put himself between his best friend and death. And guess what the movies did? They gave this line to Hermione. They took one of Ron's most powerful moments of loyalty and courage and handed it to someone else. Look, I could keep going, but I think you get the picture. Book Ron Weasley was the heart. He was the strategist. And he was the friend who would literally die for you without hesitation. The movies did Ron dirty, but the books gave us a character so loyal, so brave, and so real that 20 years later, we're still talking about him. What's your favourite book Ron moment that didn't make it to the movies? Drop it in the comments below, and if you want to see me break down more character assassinations from the films, let me know who I should defend next. And hey, if you made it this far, you're clearly as passionate about these characters as I am. So subscribe and join the family of Harry Potter lovers. Until next time, keep reading and remember, Weasley is the king.